Hello friends, welcome to the techwithsoft. So today we are going to cover the Junit Mockito next video. So that last session we have seen how to write that test cases for create method, right? So here as we can see in the controller we were using create method. So the last session we have seen how to write the test cases for this method that we have covered completely. Now we are going to see how to write the test case for this method which is having a receiving all the information. All the data which is having a fetch all employees, right? So first thing we have to understand that test cases we are nothing like we are testing the application through the test cases, not like a postman. So same thing that we are doing through the postman. Even I told that last session as well, right? Whatever we are doing here, like so whenever we do write the test case for controller, we have to use that endpoints and what it is returning when we are calling, what is that everything we have to pass it in the test case itself, right? So let's come to the test case first. So this part we have already covered, that create one, right, where we have seen this dot mock mbc perform, where we are using post because it was using post mapping, right? So we are using post, and what it is taking employee create, then content type, content accept, and here it is saying okay, what is the status we are getting is okay, and then it is verifying with the employee service what it is returning, like create only, right? Same thing we have to write for this one also, like for fetch all, right? Fetch all, what I will do, so I have written the test case for that. Fetch all employee test. Okay, fetch all employee test, what it is doing, it is first, just ignore this right now, I will let you know what it is doing. What it is doing, so this dot mock mbc perform. So what is the method we are calling here? We are calling here get method only, right? Get mapping. So we have took here get, right? Get, what is the endpoint? Employee slash get data. So what is the endpoint we have here? Employee slash employee class label and get data, right? After that what happen? After that what happen? It will come to the content type. Okay, and here we are not passing, you can see here we are passing this content, right? So content we are not passing here. Why we are not passing content? Because if you can see here, right, we have some request body annotation which is taking some request from the client, but here I don't have any request body, right? So that's why we are not passing this content actually here. So content is something that will receive the request, but I don't have any data right now, so I will not write that. So you have to keep it only those methods which are having some kind of objects, right, which is taking as an object. If it is not taking any object, then we do not pass anything on it, right? So content type accept, and then and accept status dot is okay. So what status we are sending here, that you can see we are sending here status is like okay. So whatever status we are sending, right, like suppose if I will say here it's created, we have this status also created, right? Then what happen, I have to pass the same to here also. Okay, so here I will pass is created, something like that, is created. So that way we have to think. So you can see what is the difference between is okay and created. Created does give that response, I think 201, yeah, it create 201 and it get response to 200. So that way, to understand that what response we are getting, the server response rate, we are just differentiating okay or created, something like that. Okay, so here this part is over. We have just written that test case for that method. Which method? Get all method, right, where it is having endpoint, it is not taking any endpoint, it is not taking any request, right? So we are not passing anything, right? And it is testing this one. So that means for this everything is ready. Now I have to verify with this method actually, get all. So I have to write one test case for it, this line. Okay, I have covered the test cases for this line and that endpoint line, right? Now I have to cover this and test case for this line also. So what it is doing, that you have to think, then only you can write the test case for it. If you will call this employee service dot get all method, right? So get all method will go to the service and service will go to the repository and repository will return the data from the database. That is the purpose of this line, right? So it will go to database and retrieve all the record and give me a list of employees here. Same kind of format I have to make it in the test case. So here we will use one method, when and then return. So please understand what is the meaning of this when and then return. Okay, let me write this in a notepad and we'll understand that here. When dot then return. Okay, so in the when, what do? We do call method, right? And here we will write what does return the method. That means return value of the method. Return value of the method. So let's say I'm calling a one method. Suppose I'm calling the method called employee service dot get all. Right? Get all is a method, right? If I will write this method here, employee service dot get all. Let's say I'm writing here when employee service dot get all. So this method, what it is returning in the controller, it is returning list of employees. What it is returning? List of employees. You can see here in the controller class what it is returning, list of employees, right? Same thing we have to pass here also. So what it is written, it is returning the list of employees. So what I will do, I will make a one method, that is local method, that will return the list of employees. So what I did here, I made a one method in the test case itself, like this one. I made a one method called employee get employees, and what it is returning list of employee. I just made a dummy object, list dot of, you know what does it do? It just creating a list only, and here I am passing two objects, new employees and new employees. So how many objects we are having here? Two objects we are having here, right? So that we are passing, and we are calling this method here itself, right? So I created this method. Let me explain this there. I created this method. What is the purpose of this method? It is calling a get employee method, and it is returning list of employees. It is returning list of employees, right? So here, as I told you, right, we do call the method. We are calling this method employee dot get all. What it is returning? Then I will write here, then return. What it is doing? It is returning the get employee. So I will call this method directly here. So I know what this method does return. This method will return list of employee. If suppose if it is returning employee only, right, then I will call then I will return the employee only. So that we have to understand here when and then return what it is doing. Here we can say like it is mocking the object. Mocking the object. What object? Employee object. What does it means mock? Mock means making a one fake call, right? Making a fake call, right? Where data will be dummy, right? So here we are making a one fake call, or I can say like duplicate call, where the data are dummy. Dummy means here data is not coming from the database. Like for example, employee service dot get all. Employee service dot get all, what it will do? It will go to the service, and service will go to the repository. Repository will fetch this record from the database. That is actual working of it, right? But from the test case, what I will do? I will make a one kind of dummy object like that. I'm thinking it is like database for me. I'm thinking like it is a database for me, and I will return this data after calling this method. So that way we have to perform when and then return operation. It is one of the important kind of method, when and then return, that will come both in together, right? What we are calling the method and what it is returning actually. If we are match that one right, it will be too easy to write the test cases. So we have to think where we are using, what method we are calling, and what it is returning. That's it. Okay, so same I did here also. So I have created one get employee method which is having a list of employees, right? So here this part is only for testing the controller only, right? So it is control endpoint, what controller request we have, what is the response we are setting is created is okay, whatever, right? And what is taking, it is taking list of employees. So I will call this list of employee in the verify only. So this is we are writing for the service method, right? So here we have two things, right? As I told, we have two things. First we have to write the test case for this fetch all employee method. That means the method which we have created under the controller. So that is a sum of the line for that, right? And we have to write the test case for that line also. For that, not test case, I mean in the test case we have to write some line which is calling the service method, right? So that we have to divide it. We have to write one test case for that line, and we have to write one test case for this complete method. So that way we are writing here, right? So that way we are writing what? It is a endpoints, it is a passing this application JSON except. So this is for that method only, and this is only for service method. Right? So now the test case is ready. If you will run it, you can try to run it. So you can see that fetch all employee test is running now, and then it is a test case passed. I don't have any problem on it. That's successfully passed. Right? So that we have covered test case for two methods. One is for create test and second one is for fetch all employee test. So I have covered these two different test cases. Now let's come to the service. We have a service also, right? So let's write some service test case for the service. So let's say it is having a get all method, right? So just give me a minute. Yeah. So let's create a test case for the, what is the method we have here? First go with the create employee only, right? Because it is creating the employee. So let's create the test case for them. Okay. So first same, we have to do some kind of, first we have to create the package, and package have to that class which is having create employee service test, right? Then what I will do first, I will use Mockito extension. So Mockito. Mockito we have, right? What, let me copy from there. At extend with, we have to use for first. At extend with, and what does it take? Mockito extension. Mockito extension class. That part is done, right? Now here we have to understand. We are writing the test case for employee test. Now go to the employee test. Test case, whenever you will write, please map that with your source code. Then only you will be able to understand, or you will write the right test case. So in the employee test, what we are doing here, we are having a two reference. One is the employee repository. Second, we have an employee test. Employee service IMPL itself, right? So employee service IMPL will be inject mock, and employee repository will be auto add, right? That concepts I explained in the previous session. If you do not have any idea, please watch the previous recording, right? So what I will do here, I will create one private variable, and everything I will tell you that should be private here. Whatever we do create, right? Other than test case method, variable declaration or any custom method, right, that we keep private only. So first I have to create a method of, reference of the service, employee service IMPL, right? Employee service IMPL. Employee service IMPL, that could be service something other, that I am keeping service, or let's say keep employee service. Okay, employee service. Second, what I will do, that should be what? Mock or inject mock? Employee service. We are writing test case for service, right? That will be inject mock. Inject mock, right? What could be then? I have to use repository. So private employee repository, right? So that will also be a reference here. So employee repository will be what? Mock here. So that way we have decided when I have to use inject mock, when I have to use mock, right? Now I have to create a method. So that method will be what it will do. So what could be the method name? So we are writing the method for test case for which method? That is for let me go to the service only, right? For create. So let's write create test here. Let's give a direct name like public void create test. Okay, and here this create test, that could be my test case, right? So that should annotate with that test annotation, right? So it should annotate with the test annotation create test. Then what I will do here, I have to see what this method is doing. So let's go to this method only. What it is doing here. Here we are having a create method which is calling repository.save method. What it is taking? Employee as an argument, right? So we have to write what it could be written and what it is taking as a parameter. So what I will do here, I will go to this employee service control. Let me write the code first, then I will explain that. So first we have to go with the when and then return. When, then, dot, then return. Yes, we have to import the package for them. So what when does do? What it is taking here? It is calling an employee repository dot save method, right? Not service, it should be repository. Sorry, repository only we have reference, right? Repository dot save. After that, what it is taking here, the save method, it is taking one employee object. This employee object is going to the DB, right? You can see here what it is saying, that save is taking one employee object. So we have to pass this employee object also there. So for that, what I will do, I will not create any object. I will simply say save mockito.any. It could be any object, right? Mockito.any. Here any will use many times, right? .any. What does it take? Employee.class, like this one. So repository.save. So that save method we have. What it is taking is parameter. It is taking employee object as a parameter, right? Then what it is returning? What it is returning? It is returning one employee object only, right? So first we have to take this method, what it is taking as a parameter, and what it is returning. It is returning one employee only. So I have to create one method here that should return me employee. So I will write private. That method will be private. It will return me an employee, and I will say like get employee, something like that. Okay, and inside that what I will do, I will just simply write a return statement, and I will say new employee, right? And let me copy the previous one which we already write. We have already created that one employee. Yeah, this one. So it is running a single employee only, right? Same we have to pass like here also, like that. Private employee get employee. What get employee is returning? Complete object, right? So same we will pass here, get employee. So this time I have written this code, the test case for which method? For this repository.save. For that I have completed the test case. Now what I have to check? I have to check this create method. I have to call this create method also, because that is a call of the service, right? What it is returning? It is returning employee. So what I will do for that? I will check it should not be not null. So for that we have one more method that could be assertion. Assertions dot assert that. Assert all or assert that. THAT, right? Why it is not okay? It should take it. Assert that, right? What it is taking here, it is saying that so we have one employee, right? So let's do perform first the service call, what it is doing. So here I will make a one employee object. I will explain you that. Just give me a minute. Employee emp equal to, here we have to call that method. What method? Employee service dot save method. What is the method they have? Create already. Create method. What it is taking? It is taking one employee object. So that should be get employee. So what we did here, we call this method. What method we have called? Which we have defined here, right? This one. Employee service having a method called create. What it is taking? Employee object. So we have to call, and it is returning one employee object me, right? So for the same I have written here. So employee service dot create employee will taking one get employee. So get employee is a method that is returning some dummy objects, right? It is not coming from the DB, so dummy object only. Then we have employee here. Then here we are checking this should not be null. So assertion dot assert that what emp. We will pass this emp. Then it should not be not null. Is not null. It is not taking and should be capital. Okay, is not null. Assert that having a problem. What's the problem? USSERT. ASSERT. Assert that. Rename the reference assert to. Or let's assert not null. Okay, no problem. That will also fine. Assert not null. Okay, so that should not be not null. Okay, now let me test this. So you can see the test case got passed. So that way we have to think. First we have to write what we are doing for the repository one. So this is completing for the repository, right? So here we have to make one private method that will having some dummy data. The dummy data will return for them, right? And here we have to pass any request, save is taking what one argument, right? So we are passing any employee class, and then what it is doing here we are writing this for create method, which is employee service, which is returning the employee only, right? So we have to verify that as well. So this employee is having a null value or not. So here we are checking that should not be null. Assertion dot assert not null, right? So that way it will perform the operation. So hope you understood that, right? If you have any doubt, any question, you can leave me on comments. Okay, and thanks for watching, guys. If you like it, please subscribe this channel, and thank you, guys. Take care. Bye bye.